us for a day tour of Malacca as we explore the diverse cultures that make up this historical port city. Hi everyone and welcome to Dan's Destinations. I recently took the family on a day trip to Malacca, which is located about 2 hours drive south of Kuala Lumpur. On this visit, we visited the various temples, the 𝗍𝗡𝗏𝗏 Mausoleum, the Studhuys Square, St. Paul's Cathedral, and 𝗍𝗡𝗡𝗏𝗧𝗏. We also visited the Submarine Museum on the city outskirts and finished the visit with a refreshing drink at Klebang coconut shake. On our return, we stopped by Empayar 𝗟𝗡𝗨𝗏𝗂𝗂 for some delicious Seremban pork buns. Also, if you enjoy our guides, please do hit that like and subscribe button. We started out early on our drive to Malacca, taking the North-South Expressway. While driving on the expressway, you'll need a touch and go prepaid card to pay for the highway tolls, as they no longer accept cash payments. 9 years ago, when I left Malaysia, the toll operators had 3 modes of payment: cash, touch and go, and smart tag. Deciding that wasn't confusing enough for the motorists, the Plus toll operator decided to remove cash and add My RFID. The Touch and Go prepaid card is probably the easiest for visitors, and you can buy it at most petrol stations or 7-Eleven convenience stores. The North-South Expressway is a straight highway all the way from KL to Singapore, and we would exit midway to reach Malacca. There was this famous story that my mother told me about a German employee at her company that wanted to drive to Malacca. He was advised to drive south down the highway and exit at Malacca. Unfortunately, back then, the road signs for the exit did not mention Malacca, but instead, the 2 exits referenced Alor Gajah and 𝗟𝗡𝗏𝗏𝗏. Not knowing this, the poor German drove looking for the exit for Malacca and ended up driving all the way to Singapore. He was so upset, complaining about the road signage in Malaysia. Today, the road signs are better and do reference Malacca by name for the exit. While driving there, you also pass under the famous Malacca Overhead Rest Stop, which has restaurants and toilets. It is just before the exit for Malacca. Malacca is a historical city in Malaysia that has a rich and diverse cultural heritage. It was founded by a Sumatran prince named Parameswara in 1402, and due to its strategic location, became a major trading port that attracted merchants from China, India, Middle East, Africa, and Europe. Malacca was ruled by different colonial powers such as the Portuguese in 1511, the Dutch in 1641, and the British in 1824, all of whom left their marks on the architecture, language, and religion of the city. In 2008, Malacca was declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site, along with Georgetown in Penang, for its outstanding history as a multicultural trading town. We first headed off for breakfast in the city before the traffic built up. The roads are very narrow and there is very little room to expand the roads due to all the heritage buildings. Later in the day, the traffic in the city can get really congested. Jalan Tukang Emas is also affectionately called Harmony Street due to the presence of places of worship from Malaysia's 3 main religions within a mere 50 meters of each other. After parking, I walked by 𝗪𝗩𝗡𝗨𝗏𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗏, a serene Buddhist temple nestled in the heart of the city. Its root traced back to 1958, when it began as a humble village-style wooden house. It was rebuilt as a modern brick building in 1985. Cheng Hun Teng Temple, also known as the Temple of Green Cloud, is located opposite the 𝗪𝗩𝗡𝗨𝗏𝗂𝗏𝗏. It proudly holds the title of the oldest functioning temple in Malaysia when it was founded in 1645. It is dedicated to the goddess of mercy, Kuan Yin, and features a beautiful architecture that blends elements of Buddhism, Taoism, and Confucianism. The temple is a place of worship and a cultural attraction that showcases the religious diversity of Malacca. Located next to it is Kampong Kling Mosque, an ancient mosque built by Indian Muslim traders in 1748. In 1872, it underwent a transformation, emerging as a brick-built masterpiece. The mosque architecture is a captivating blend of Sumatran, Chinese, Hindu, and local Malay influences. Loh Mong Yoh, just a short walk from Jonker Street, is famous for its dim sum offering and is a favorite among locals. From steamed dumplings to savory buns, their menu boasts a variety of bite-sized delights. It is extremely crowded during breakfast and lunch hours, and visitors are advised to arrive outside peak hours and be prepared to wait for a table. Their steamed buns are absolutely delicious, with a savoury meat filling dripping with gravy. After breakfast, we took a short walk to 𝗩𝗡𝗏𝗡𝗏's mausoleum. 𝗩𝗡𝗏𝗏 was a sworn brother and lifelong friend of the legendary Malaccan hero 𝗩𝗏𝗏, and both were legendary Silat warriors. The story goes that 𝗩𝗏𝗏 was sentenced to death by the Sultan over rumours of an illicit love affair with one of the Sultan's stewardesses. Believing that 𝗩𝗏𝗏 was unjustly murdered by the Sultan he served, 𝗩𝗡𝗏𝗏 rebelled against the ruler and went on a killing spree. However, unbeknownst to 𝗩𝗡𝗏𝗏, the chief minister had gone against the royal decree and hid 𝗩𝗏𝗏 in a remote area. After learning that 𝗩𝗏𝗏 was still alive, the Sultan had the chief minister recall the warrior and gave him a full amnesty. The Sultan then ordered 𝗩𝗏𝗏 to kill 𝗩𝗡𝗏𝗏. Being unquestionably loyal to the Sultan, 𝗩𝗏𝗏 went on to challenge 𝗩𝗡𝗏𝗏. After a battle that lasted for 7 days, 𝗩𝗏𝗏 eventually managed to defeat 𝗩𝗡𝗏𝗏. Although stabbed by 𝗩𝗏𝗏 and dying in his friend's arm, 𝗩𝗡𝗏𝗏 famously quoted, "A fair king is a king saluted, a tyrant king is a king disputed." This is the opposite of 𝗩𝗏𝗏's philosophy of loyalty without question, a truly tragic story of two brothers in arms. Next, we drove to Studhuys, which is also known as the Dutch Square. This captivating historical landmark was built during the Dutch colonial era in 1650. It served as the official residence of the Dutch governors and administrators, and previously housed the treasury, post office, and government offices. The Studhuys and the neighbouring buildings were once painted white, but were transformed to their iconic red hue in 1911. Today, the Studhuys houses the History and Ethnography Museum, showcasing traditional costumes and artifacts from Malacca's rich past. In the square, you will also find the Christ Church, which was built in 1753 to replace St. Paul's Church at the top of the hill. In 1824, the British took control of Malacca and in 1838 renamed the church as Christ Church. This 18th century Dutch-built church is the oldest functioning Protestant church in Malaysia. There are also trishaw rides available here by informative guides in their colourfully decorated trishaws of Hello Kitties and other gaudy designs, a stark contrast to the historical buildings. St. Paul's Church, perched atop the storied St. Paul's Hill, is a timeless testament to the Portuguese and Dutch heritage. It is the oldest European building east of India. Originally, a Portuguese nobleman built the Our Lady of Grace Chapel in 1521, dedicated to the Virgin Mary. In 1548, St. Francis Xavier established a school at the chapel known as St. Paul's College. After the Dutch conquered Malacca in 1641, they renamed the church St. Paul's Church until the completion of the Christ Church Malacca at the bottom of the hill in 1753. The old church was then subsequently deconsecrated. In 1953, a statue of St. Francis Xavier was erected in front of the ruins of the church, in commemoration of the 400th anniversary of his sojourn in Malacca. The statue is missing its right hand, and sources differ as to how the statue came to lose this limb. A news article from 1967 reports that the fingers on the statue's right hand were taken by visitors as lucky charms. 𝗟𝗡𝗡𝗏𝗡𝗡, which translates to the famous in Portuguese, is a fort located in Malacca. It was built by the Portuguese Empire in 1511. In 1641, following the Battle of Malacca, the Dutch occupied the city and the keep was destroyed, but the outer walls were reinforced. The British took control of Malacca in 1795 and destroyed most of the fort in 1807. Today, the Porta de Santiago Gateway and the restored Middelburg Bastion are the only parts that remain. They are amongst the oldest European architectural remains in Southeast Asia. Next to Studhuys, you will find Jonker Street, which is the main street of Chinatown in Malacca. Here you can find a variety of shops and Chinese restaurants. Do try out the chicken rice balls and the chendol dessert here. On weekends, there's a lively night market with live performances and hawkers selling handicrafts and delicious street food. For lunch, we visited 𝗪𝗓𝗍𝗓𝗏 Satay House, which is famous for its charcoal grilled pork satay, a rarity in a Muslim-dominant country. The delicious smell of marinated meat sizzling over a charcoal grill are enough to excite your taste buds. The pork skewers were grilled to perfection, wafting with a fragrant aroma. The secret lay in the meticulous marination of the pork skewers, interspersed with delicate layers of fat. The satay is served with the traditional savory peanut sauce, which is creamy with a tantalizing hint of sourness from the pineapple juice. The satay is also accompanied by a side of onions, cucumber, and nasi impit. The Submarine Museum in Malacca is a unique attraction that allows you to enter and see a real submarine that was used by the French and Malaysian navies. The museum is located on the coast of Klebang, about 10 minutes drive from the city centre of Malacca. The museum features a French-made 𝗟𝗡𝗡𝗏𝗏𝗏 class submarine named 𝗪𝗏𝗏, which was built in 1978 and decommissioned in 2009. It was used by the French as a training vessel to train the Royal Malaysian Navy from 2005 to 2009, before it was decommissioned and gifted to Malaysia. This training was in preparation for the French sale of 2 Scorpene submarines to Malaysia. The museum gives you a chance to experience the life and work of submariners. We started off in the torpedo room, which are the main armaments of the submarine. Walking through the narrow corridors, we come to the con, which contains the sonar, torpedo fire control and the dive control station. Walking on, we come to the captain's cabin, which is supposed to be the best cabin in the submarine, but even then it is extremely small and cramped. The crew quarters are also very cramped, with a table for the crew to have their meals and many bunk beds. The galley is used to prepare food for the submarine's crew of 5 officers and 36 sailors. The shower is also incredibly cramped and narrow. Towards the rear, you will find the machine control room where engineers monitor the submarine's diesel-electric propulsion system. The museum also houses 2 additional gems, the A4 Skyhawk and F5E fighter jets. The Royal Malaysian Air Force started using the F5E Tiger II in 1975 and used it in missions during the communist insurgency. The A4 Skyhawk was purchased by the RMAF in 1982. It has since been decommissioned and replaced by the FA-18 Hornet. After visiting the museum, we stopped for a refreshing dessert at Klebang Original Coconut Shake, a roadside oasis from the tropical heat. The stall claims the title of being the first to concoct these delicious coconut shakes, drawing both locals and tourists alike. You can easily identify it by its long queues, a testament to its popularity. However, the queues do move very fast due to the efficiency of their operation. The shake is made with fresh coconut water, blended with ice and coconut flesh, and a scoop of vanilla ice cream. A perfect elixir for a scorching day. As the weather was getting bad, we chose not to stay for dinner, but if you have the time, I highly recommend having dinner at the Portuguese Settlement. The Portuguese Settlement, also known as St. John's Village, is a unique enclave that celebrates the rich heritage of the Kristang people. The Kristang are an ethnic group with mixed Portuguese and Malay heritage that trace their origins back to the time of Portuguese rule in Malacca. The Portuguese Settlement is renowned for its delectable seafood offerings, which you can find at the seafood court. Some of the delicious dishes you can get here include black pepper crab, ikan bakar, which is a freshly caught fish marinated and grilled to perfection, and sambal lady's finger. At night, you may be lucky enough to see sky lanterns being released into the night sky with people's wishes written on it to send the wishes to the gods. The lanterns are made of paper with an opening at the bottom where a small candle fire is suspended. On our return, we stopped by Empayar's Seremban 𝗟𝗡𝗏𝗂𝗏, a bakery located midway between Malacca and KL. 𝗪𝗡𝗏𝗏𝗏 is the visionary behind Empayar Seremban 𝗟𝗡𝗏𝗂𝗏, when, as a child, she would join her mother after school kneading dough and crafting various pastries. Inspired by her mother's pork filling recipe, she combined that flavorful filling with a flaky pastry dough, and thus the iconic Seremban 𝗟𝗡𝗏𝗏 was born. The crispy and flaky buns, filled with barbecued pork, became a sensation, and Empayar Seremban 𝗟𝗡𝗏𝗏𝗏 quickly gained fame. They have expanded their offering over the years with different variations of their 𝗟𝗡𝗏, besides other treats like kaya pao. The golden buttery and crispy crust gives way to the juicy, sweet and savoury pork filling. That concludes our day outing to Malacca. As we made our way back, it started raining and we ran into the famous KL traffic jams. Thanks for watching and please don't forget to like and subscribe.